Okay, so this is going to be an interesting one. I'm personally feeling a slight pressure because we have seen some amazing talks right here, and I'm basically going to be touching on every single topic almost that we have heard so far. And yeah, this is just going to be touching on general learning process, like how you should view some things, and kind of like just an overall overview on some of the skills that you might be acquiring, some of the tools, some of the resources that the community has created, and basically just giving you an insight. The presentation is kind of a weird mix between a tutorial and just an overall talk, but it's it's gonna hopefully it's gonna be filling its purpose. It's truly a pleasure to be here, and I'm truly honored to be sharing the stage with so many talented creators. And it really warms my heart to see that we're able to have these kinds of experiences for free for all of us that we can share, and just building the metaverse together. VRChat. It's truly something revolutionary in my own perspective. It's completely free platform that allows us all to express ourselves in so many different ways. We have dancers, we have musicians, we have artists. Now we even have like photographers working with prefabs that have been kind of emulated in this virtual space. I'm going to mention Hirabiki. I'm probably pretty sure a lot of us have their prefab on our avatars. Just results in truly amazing shots that we can share with everyone. It's like a common media that everyone understands, even outside of VRChat. We have actors, we have actresses, just live performances, truly amazing. And then we have the creators. We have the avatar creators who are creating all the avatars that everyone can use, and to just personalize yourself and just kind of build that your virtual identity that you're going to be using throughout your days. And then we have the world creators. We wouldn't have the amazing worlds to go to without these people, and a lot of us here are creating worlds, and that's what we're talking about here. But I feel like world creation is one of the most important factors in shaping the metaverse, because it's the static environment that we're exploring together, and that is pretty much the world that we're creating here. But yeah, who am I, or who am I pretending to be? I am a world creator. That's how I like to classify myself at this current moment. I'm working on expanding. I'm working on YouTube videos, going through my development process, explaining some of my Udon projects, and just giving an insight into my workflow, etc. I'm next year going to be selling my own 3D models. I'm working on some model packs, like for nightclubs. I'm going to be showing some references in the next slide. And kind of just, I'm looking into making VRChat, everything related to VRChat, my full-time job, and it pretty much already is. Like, I just walked up to my boss and told him, like, this is something that I truly believe in. I want to dedicate all of my time towards this, and I just really want to catch the wave that we're on right now and just bring this metaverse to a completely another level, where we have interactivity, like I'm mentioning on the bottom, that I'm specializing in, realism and interactivity. That's something that I'm truly passionate about. I started VRChat during the summer of 2018. I just got my first VR headset, HTC Vive, and I was instantly blown away by the immersion, and I picked up Unity slowly, kind of just tried my own prototypes, just standalone game development. I'm a jack of all trades. I have never really settled down on anything. Like, I went from carpentry, I went through fire truck mechanic, mechanical engineering, pretty much creating CNC programs as a day job, and now I'm kind of just doing some mechanical engineering related work. And but now I'm not like now I'm finally starting to find my true calling. Like, this is something that I'm truly passionate about. I kind of stopped talking about it, seriously. I have no professional background on anything related to VRChat World creation. That's going to be a disclaimer. Everything is self-taught. The only relatable thing is CAD modeling. I have about decades experience through Inventor, through SolidWorks for mechanical engineering and carpentry. So that's one point. And yeah, I think that's all of the important details about me. Here are some references for my 3D models. I'm using the workflow of Blender through Substance Painter, and then basically creating my own model packs internally that I'm then going to be using or like pulling from my library into any one of my projects and uploading through that, or updating every single model every time there's a revision. And I just feel like I'm working on so many different things, and as one singular entity I can only work on so many things. It's better for me to just give everyone the equal opportunity to make their own experiences as realistic as possible. So I kind of just want to be selling these forward, and so everyone can kind of enjoy them. Shameless plug, I'm going to be exhibiting at Virtual Market 5. I'm going to be showing my most popular prefab, the drivable vehicles that allows you to grab the steering wheel, grab the gear shifter, push the pedals with your feet, and you have working doors, stereos, audio muffling, dashboard, everything, all the good things. You should definitely check it out. I also have a list of prefabs that I'm going to be releasing on the menus, and some demos for my models. Basically, every single model that I use to build my Virtual Market 5 booth is going to go on sale, pretty much, except the car. So what I will be going through during this talk, I will be generally touching on what VRChat World creation is, and kind of how you should start, some general learning tips, and how to maintain your inspiration and motivation, and where to look for it if you don't have it. Some tools and resources, like a lot of the times you run into a situation where you're just listening to your friend, you're just asking them for tips and tricks, like where do I start, and they have their own source of knowledge, and you cannot really confirm that. So I kind of just wanted to have this presentation for some of the confirmed sources where you can actually go and look for this information for. I will be going through some asset acquisitions, downloading, purchasing, or creation, and then comparing game development, VRChat World development, Udon Sharp, and Node Graph. I know a lot of people are going to hate me on that section, but it's going to be worth it, I think. And then what skills should you focus on? We have so many different things. We have audio design, we have 3D modeling, texturing, shaders, we have game design. Like, we can even have networking really soon, like SSP was mentioning. Like, it's completely another topic on its own. So we are basically going to that point, I believe, where we're having proper game development inside VRChat on this platform. So you're going to be seeing a bunch of different fields being utilized in just VRChat World development. And then some final notes and questions. I'm pretty sure this talk is going to be ending before the set time, so we're going to be fine. So what is VRChat World development? I just went to Miro and I just drew a little sketch. It's just basically you have your Unity editor. So VRChat is running on a game engine called Unity Engine, and Unity is providing an application that allows you to develop games for the Unity engine. And basically, in this scenario, we are using VRC SDK, the VRChat software development kit that VRChat provides as like a plugin, which will provide us with the necessary world components. Like we have the world descriptor that will tell the VRChat servers about the information of your world. We have some prefabs like chairs, portals, everything like that. And it also contains an uploader, which then allows us to communicate with their servers and upload our Unity package to be used in VRChat. So basically, we have our assets that we're going to be acquiring via any methods we prefer, and we're going to be throwing them into our assets that are going to be kind of assembled in our Unity editor. And then we're going to be throwing in everything into our Unity scene, and then that scene will define our world, and that will be usable in VRChat. So basically, VRChat is a standalone game, which will be taking the Unity packages in the Unity scenes, and then we can access those scenes through joining worlds or going through portals. So that's kind of like the basic idea of what we're doing. So why would you want to start? There are a lot of motives why people would want to start world creation. We have money, we have fame, someone maybe wants to prove a point, prove their worth. A lot of us have just the general passion. We want to have a creative outlet to express ourselves. That's absolutely beautiful. But no matter what, we are at a time where we need talented world creators. Like we can see in this venue that we're experiencing right now was created by one man during 2 weeks, if I understood correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's truly amazing. Like, we are living at a time where you have all the tools necessary to create all these experiences. Like, you can have $1 million studios, AAA titles, just working on anything, but like, you still have this possibility if you just have the enthusiasm, the passion to create, and you want everyone to just enjoy our time in this metaverse. So definitely, if you feel the itch for creating something, just definitely pay attention to my next slides on how to get started, and we're gonna have a great time. So starting out, one thing I cannot stress enough is just make sure you have one place where you're collecting all your worlds. Like, just make some space, reserve, just make sure that you're not going to be filling your hard drives, especially your C drive, with all your worlds. It's going to be taking a lot of space, especially textures. And also backing up your files. Like FSP mentioned, Plastic is one great way to back up online, and you can revision, you can collaborate. Really useful. Or you can just have an external hard drive. I personally prefer having external hard drive that is completely disconnected. I'm doing monthly backups, and I'm keeping the external hard drive in a fireproof safe, so I can be assured that it's going to be fine. Yeah, basically, our first step is to follow the official documentation. Please refer to the official documentation. These are provided by VRChat. You cannot go wrong with this. They tell you exactly what you need to look out for. They tell you about their systems, how it works, and tells you about their first steps that you need to complete in order to kind of go through the steps of creating your first world. So you'll be going through setting up the SDK. This will be really small text. I'm just showing you the screenshots from their documentation. So you will have all the different steps: installing Unity, creating a project, some disclaimers, what you shouldn't do. Again, you can go wrong. creating your first world, you'll have setting up scene, creating spawn points, explaining about their components that are going to be utilized in your world. And at this stage, this is a huge note. When you're going to be asking someone for help, you're calling your friend on Discord, hey, how do I do this? Or you're joining a voice channel, you're asking anyone for help with your project. Most likely, they are going to be referring to these different terms like toolbar, hierarchy, project window, scene view, game view, asset store, inspector. Please, at least take a look at them and understand what the Unity editor is made out of. It's completely modular. You can move the windows, and every single panel has their own purpose. They're all doing their own different things. Like you have all the assets listed in your project window. You can have the scene view. You can preview everything from like a fly cam, and game view will be pretty much like the final view of the player. So this is just a simple note to make your experience with someone helping you a lot easier. A while ago, not too long ago, VRChat used to have manual approval for their worlds that were submitted. There was a massive sheet of worlds where you could see their IDs, their uploader, their world ID, everything, all the details. And sometimes you will see on the side, low effort. The documentation will tell you to upload something simple, just making sure that your systems work. But don't just let it stop here. Don't just drop in mirror, a chair, let's just change the skybox, and boom, I'm a world creator. Don't let it stop here. We have so many different amazing tools. You like, without paying a single penny, you can create amazing experiences. I'm telling you. And this is kind of like the next note after, well, during the upload process. You should be paying attention to this little button right here. What checking this box means after you press upload. Everyone will be able to see your world in Community Labs. Community Labs is the first step of moderation, community moderation. Everyone will have the chance to see your world in not so public view, but they still have the chance to check your world out and kind of just make sure it's actually okay for being public in VRChat. But this is something I cannot stress enough. You can only give the first impression once. After you upload your world and everyone will be able to see it, the word will spread. And the world will spread even more if your world is really bad. Sometimes people are even associating your name with the world. They're telling their friends like, hey, this guy made some really stupid world, let's just ignore all their worlds. This is nothing new. It's a social game. Everyone is talking. Everything is based on socializing, and you should just pay some attention to this, just for your own sake. So we have tested that our systems work. You can play the world. Nothing's crashing. Everything is looking good. And now you can continue. Now let's go through some general tips on how to approach the learning process of creating your own worlds. Read the documentation for Unity and VRChat. There is a lot of valuable information in these documentations that will help you through a lot of issues. When you're listening to other world creators, watching tutorials, listening to conference talks like we are right now, you'll be hearing a lot of terms. And something I have personally proven to be working really well with learning something new is to just take these different keywords. I have presented some of the most important keywords in world creation in this slide, and I'm going to be giving you an example. Let's say someone is mentioning the word LOD. You stop right there. You go into your favorite search engine. You're searching the word Unity LOD or VRChat LOD, anything. And you will find level of detail. Level of detail means that you can have a 3D model that has different levels of qualities. You have something that is 1000 polys when you're really close. That means how many individual faces the model has to kind of like shape its details and whatnot. Then you might have another level at 500 polys when it's a little further. And then maybe 100 polys when it's really far away. And then it's being called like it's completely invisible when it's out of reach. Then you have something like texture compression. Really important detail. Textures are bloating your file sizes on your worlds. That's why most worlds are something like 100 to 400 megabytes. Profile your worlds. Profiler is a built-in Unity window that allows you to profile your everything that is happening. We had some, I don't remember who was the one who was giving a talk about a profiler. I think it was one. You should definitely utilize it. And then just kind of like general terms, SDK, like I already mentioned, game engine, Unity, and prefabs. Prefabs, we are VRC prefabs. Prefab is Unity's own method of building multiple instances of something. Let's say I want to have a chair. That chair is going to be identical every single time I place it into a world. I can make it into a prefab. If I make some changes into that prefab, then that will be applied to every single one of these items that I'm multiplying into the world. So that's just my personal tip. And then just some general recommendations. Start small, get comfortable with the technology that you're working with. Just try things out. I'm personally not going to recommend you to start with your magnum opus right as you start. I personally made that mistake, and I'm still struggling after 2 years. Just start small and don't be afraid to fail. And also watch Unity game development tutorials. I'm kind of assuming that you're going to be using VRC SDK 3 when you're starting world creation, because now it has Unity, the UDAN available, and also we're just still in this transition from VRC SDK 2 into VRC SDK 3, and it's just now is a great time to just learn as we're making those improvements, so you can kind of learn at the same time what issues do we have currently. Listen to conference talks, GDC, Game Developers Conference, Unite, Unity's own conference, and TLX. Here we are. It's just, that has been working for me personally really well, just working on a Unity project and listening along on another screen, just watching the conference and listen to some professionals explain their really deep dives into how they optimize their games or just tackled some really deep issues with their games. Really helpful. And collaborate. There's a lot of world creators just like we are here right now, and everyone pretty much has the same goal. We all want to make everyone happy. We want to make new experiences for everyone. Find someone that you're sharing the common goals with, and just if you're having people with different backgrounds, if you have a programmer, like 4Ponies has been mentioned many times during this event. is the perfect example. You have different people with different backgrounds, and they're all filling their own roles in the team. And that is leading to a completely different level of a result. But now I want to move into one of these topics. Why am I asking you to start small? How many times has someone messaged me on Discord screaming for help? They have no idea what they did. Everything is lagging. They did something that they didn't research, understand, almost even briefly. You can see some really extreme examples. If someone is familiar with Blender, every single orange pixel is one vertex. That is 1,000 by 1,000 UV sphere, 1 million polygons. Never do this. You have something like 60,000 draw calls, have something like 12 billion triangles being rendered every single frame, and your console is just filled with warnings, information, and errors. This also could have been prevented with VR World Toolkit made by One. Inspiration and motivation. Find something that you're truly passionate about. Personally, when I was starting VRChat, the past summer, my favorite nightclub got closed, and I basically didn't have another same type of nightclub to go to anymore, and I was just looking for a different solution. And then I came across VR and VRChat, and I just started working on my own nightclub. Originally, that was just supposed to be a place for my friends and I to hang out and just have some fun. But why did all of that succeed? Now it's the third most popular nightclub in VRChat. Why did it succeed? Because I was truly passionate about every single detail I put into the world. I believed in my work. I had always dreamed about all of these different details. Throughout my life, I have dreamed about owning a nightclub. Throughout my life, I have been dreaming about having a lot more professional gear, like speakers, lights, trusses, anything. And virtual reality allows me to bring everything into life. It's not so much about, do I want to have them in real life just to do something, but to just experience it in any way. And virtual reality allows me to create these experiences with certain limitations, and I'm completely fine with that. But it's just, this allows me to do it, and I'm believing in my work. So just find something that you're truly passionate about. I'm passionate about interactivity, realism. I'm spending 4 days modeling and texturing some speakers with some really fine details. I'm texturing every single label, every single sticker, every single dent, every single scratch, all of the different sliders, all of the different plugs, like with the individual pins, because that's something that I'm truly passionate about. And just give yourself positive goals. Start small. See what works best. Just have something that you can start with. And also for inspiration, you should definitely check out ArtStation, Pixabay, Pinterest, Twitter, Reddit. You have so many different resources. The World Wide Web is far and wide. You have so many different sources that you wouldn't even believe. Just look out for anything. Now we're going to touch on some software, some applications that are going to be helping your life, some websites, and hopefully these will work for you as well, as they have been working for me. Pure Ref. It allows you to build canvases of images. You can have all your references in one massive canvas that you can scroll through, zoom in, zoom out. You can export it, import any kind of image from any kind of source you want. You can add notes, and you can just sort everything as you wish and just have everything in one place. Really easy as you're collecting reference images from all these different sources. Now as you're getting more organized, you probably want to set up Trello or any kind of Kanban board. Just something that allows you to manage all of the different tasks, like 3D model this object, optimize this, this has an issue, it has to be fixed. And finally, at the end of the list, you have publish the world. It should be obvious at this point that we are here to help each other. I'm truly passionate about VRC Prefabs is doing here. Just looking out for the community, helping everyone else. And here I have collected some credible sources that you should be checking out. We have VR World Toolkit by one who was giving a talk yesterday. We have Cyan Emu, which now allows us to debug our worlds right within our Unity editor. Cyan, you beautiful human being right there. Give some credit. We have Udon Sharp, created by Merlin, also present here. Thank you. I want to personally thank you for making it possible for me to actually start a full-time job in VRChat. Udon Toolkit, made by Orals, the same person who made this venue. Also really useful. This is a little bit more advanced. I was originally a little hesitant to putting it here, but it's just, if you listen to Oral's talk about it, it's going to be understandable. You also have the official VRChat Discord server. There's a lot of people there. Constantly everyone is chatting about world creation and sharing their knowledge. This should be one of your first steps. VRChat also has their official forums that you should be checking out. Opened just recently. You have a lot of different topics on tips and tricks, commissions. You have just general knowledge about anything. Just check it out. And also VRC Prefabs has their own database, public for everyone. A lot of fantastic community created assets that are going to be helping you throughout your world creation process. You can use this to learn more, just how everyone else is doing things, or just if you're feeling too overwhelmed about adding something into your world, you can just utilize the community created content. That's what it's there for. Download Blender. It is a free, open source modeling software that is finally being accepted by the industry. If you have any kind of other preferences, then you're probably coming from a professional background and you already know what you're doing. But for everyone else, please note that you're probably going to be needing some kind of 3D modeling software at some point of your world creation. Nearly guaranteed. Now we have the tools. We are going to be needing some assets. Mainly, VRChat worlds are made out of 3D models. Textures that we're using to cover the models and paint its surface, give it its characteristics visually. It is not just a gray model. It has color, it has depth, it has little scratches and dents. It's made out of something. And then we have sounds. I'm I'm not going to be touching sounds on my own presentation. Yesterday, Akalink was giving absolutely fantastic talk about sound design and how to create your own sound effects. So you should definitely be checking that out if you want to know more about sounds. As we're working on Unity, Unity has its own asset store. You can find a lot of free and paid assets in here. And this is probably going to be your closest source of material for your own world. But there is a little note. There are different categories of assets. You're probably not going to be seeing this too well. You have basically 3D models, you have textures, you have audio, you have editor tools, extensions, and then you have almost nearly every single asset. There is some kind of script, C# script, code that is supposed to make some object do something in the game. And this is where we're coming to a little bit of a disclaimer. Please note that VRChat doesn't allow custom scripts, C# scripts, to be put into your VRChat world. But we now have Udon Sharp, which pretty much allows us to convert some of these C# behaviors into Udon Sharp. So don't take my word for it. It's not guaranteed. But you should always be looking out for assets that are not dependent on C# scripts. This might be a little bit more advanced, but just I'm mentioning it so you can just look out for it and just try to understand a bit more. So 3D models. You have basically two different ways. You have the acquisition. You can download or purchase, or you can create them yourself. Oh, unfortunately, we're missing one line on the right side. But that was... I'm actually forgetting what was there. But basically, for downloading or purchasing your assets, you have some sources like Unity Asset Store, CG Trader, Booth, and Virtual Market. Especially Booth and Virtual Market are currently rapidly growing, and you can also see a lot of VRChat World Creators adding their own models onto those services. So you can find something like a VRChat starter world, like a little kit that you can use to make your worlds. Or you can learn the modeling yourself. This requires some effort, unfortunately. You cannot just go into YouTube and look up any Blender modeling tutorial there is. So that's a bit of a disclaimer. You're going to have to take into consideration a few limitations of game engines, and you cannot really just make a really, really highly detailed, high poly model for VRChat and just duplicate it over and over and over again. There is something called, like, I think the general term game ready modeling or low poly modeling. Not really low poly for games, but generally like low poly in the range of 3D models in general. Then you have UV unwrapping. In order to have your textures fit your models, you're going to have to learn a bit of UV unwrapping if you want to be efficient and if you want to make your models right. And now I just remembered that the third topic is texturing. So these are the three main points that you have to learn if you want to create your own workflow for creating 3D models yourselves. Game ready modeling, UV unwrapping, and texturing. And then the next point about 3D models, pros and cons. For purchased and downloaded assets, obviously the pros is that you don't need to have that much knowledge about creating them. But the cons is you're going to have wide variety of creators, 3D modelers, talented, beginners. There are so many different price ranges. Like, there is not a set standard for price versus quality on 3D models. You're going to see a lot of variations. You cannot take the price for granted, or the quality for granted. And you should just keep in mind that sometimes you might need to open up Blender and actually fix your models for your project to optimize them and make them work for your project. The pros about creating the models yourself: obviously you have full control over everything. You know every single vertex that went into that model. You know every single seam. You know every single cavity, and you know what your model is made out of. And it's easy to fix as you have the workflow set up. And what did I write? Yes, can be sold. So this is also one potential source of income. You can sell your 3D models that you have created, and then you can create sustainability for your VRChat World creation. But the cons, obviously, is this is going to be taking some time, and it is a learning process. But if you're passionate, anything is possible. Then we're going to be covering those models with textures. My personal preference, obviously now it's a little intimidating, there's a price noted. Substance Painter is my personal recommendation if you're anywhere as passionate as me. It is industry standard tool for texturing your models. It allows for a really quick workflow, really easy revisioning, and just overall, just that guaranteed workflow that is going to be working throughout your world creation. So you have two different options. You have the subscription or the perpetual license. I highly recommend you go for the subscriptions because you get 360 different items from their substance source, and you also get access to all of their three different tools. You can create your own materials in any kind of workflow you would like. Or you can create those characteristics for your models right in Blender. You can paint within the 3D view onto textures. You will find some tutorials about that. I'm not going to be going into details on that topic. Or you can just fire up your favorite image editor, Photoshop, Paint.net, GIMP, whatever you like, and you can just paint some textures onto those UVs that you have laid out. Or you can find textures online. Obviously, this still requires you to have the UV unwrapped models. That allows you to slap all your textures on your models. But there are a lot of really good sources, and just search online for 3D model texture or textures. You'll find out. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to touch this as generally as possible so that everyone can understand. So game development versus VRChat world development. I really feel this is something that everyone should understand because it gives you a little bit of an insight on the differences that we're experiencing with creating the Unity scenes for already established platform that already has user accounts, support, all the moderation, their staff members working full-time on that platform that you can just push your content into, versus establishing everything yourself. You have to do the networking, you have to pay for the servers, or if you're having peer-to-peer, that's another different thing. But you just have to create absolutely everything from scratch. You're making a standalone game. You have to advertise it, you have to have your own marketing for the game, and you have to find the audience. And in VRChat, we have the ability to revision really rapidly. We can just push upload on our world and it'll be visible for everyone else within minutes. So this is the ease of world creation, and if you're having a great idea, but you're just not really feeling confident in establishing the foundation for a standalone game, I highly recommend you come into VRChat and just start small. Like, start with world creation. It's pretty much like 90% there in the experience as it is in game development. You're still creating the environment, you're modeling everything, you're still doing the audio design. Obviously, the tools are a little different. You're having limitations in VRChat, but still, we have seen proof that it is possible to create award-winning experiences right here within VRChat. So don't be afraid to try it out in VRChat. This is one of the points where people are probably going to be hating me a little. I just want to be touching this topic a little and kind of explain the benefits of using Udon Sharp versus Udon Graph. So basically, if you were to do C# programming, I personally self-taught myself some C# programming in the past, and also some Python for making my own add-ons for Blender to speed up my work process. But basically, when I was looking for something with C# programming, I used to go anywhere like Stack Overflow or Unity forums, or listen to any kind of tutorials. And now you kind of have the same ability. You can just go into those forums, those chains, and you can just find information about programming that you can nearly one-to-one apply into Udon Sharp. But just first, get comfortable with how Udon Sharp works and how you're kind of laying down the foundation for your script, and everything should be really straightforward. And like I mentioned before, good portion of the already existing C# scripts should be convertible into Udon Sharp. So that is a really positive sign. Actually, that last slide, I had my original drivable Udon vehicles both in Udon Graph form and Udon Sharp, and then side by side. It was exactly the same script, the first version of the vehicles, and that was kind of like the comparison between the two. But now we're getting into the similarities of the two. So when someone is complaining that they don't want to learn Udon Sharp, they don't want to learn programming, it's really hard. It's intimidating. It's understandable. It's a lot of characters, a lot of terms that you have to understand before you're getting into it. But I just kind of want to shine some light into the direct links between the terms in both of these methods of creating logic for your worlds. In green, you have highlighted the event that will be called whenever you're pressing a button. Whenever you're interacting with an object, you have that little blue highlight on the object, its outline, and that will be that will give you the ability to interact with the object. So in script, it's calling this event in this green outline. We have also declared the variables with exactly the same terms. It's stated as public. It's available variable to be called outside of the behavior itself. We have transform, which is basically the root component of every single game object. Game object is pretty much the wrapper of every single element in your hierarchy, and transform defines in which space in the world it's located at. So you can modify the transform, its rotation, position, scale, and those different things. So yeah, we're declaring the variables in the same way, and then we are getting the local player yourself. As you're executing this script for yourself, you are getting your local player, and then we are calling the method teleport to, which means we are moving your local player character into that transform in the world, and you have the same links between each one of the terms. So hopefully this will just give you a little bit of clarity on the connections between the two, and that was kind of just the one point that I wanted to get across. So what skills should you be focusing on? We had mentioned 3D modeling, programming / Udon. It's if you're doing C# or Udon, that's pretty much all the same thing. And you have texturing. If you want to get a little bit better with texturing in Substance Painter or creating your own artistic stylized textures, you can. We have a lot of talented shader creators that are really popular and are being used on avatars and pretty much everywhere in the metaverse. So you have that. We're going to be having a talk a little bit after by Luma. That is something that you should really be checking out if you're interested in creating shaders. And editor scripting. I have personally been writing my own editor scripts for Unity ever since I pretty much started. It has been really useful just writing something out, just some one-time tool that does something for me, even if it takes the time to just write one editor window for doing one thing. It might be quicker than doing one thing over and over and over again, like we saw in Cyan Laser's talk. It's truly amazing what you can do with that skill set. So, final notes. Find inspiration. Find something that motivates you. Start small, get comfortable, get to know your tools that you're working with. Don't be afraid to fail. Ask everyone. Just let's bring Metaverse together into completely different level. We are here for the future, and we need talented world creators. Any questions?
Yeah, hi. I have a question.
Yes?
So, I know in other communities they have sort of introductory Hello World like frameworks. So kind of like you can download something and then you're kind of modifying something that already exists rather than starting something from scratch. I'm just wondering if there's any worlds that, if there's sort of introductory worlds that are available that you just download this Unity file and it has pretty much everything you need. Maybe some of the tools that you recommended here, or if there's also other creators that are uploading like their entire Unity file up on GitHub or something like that that could be downloaded. So you could see an existing world that could also be modified. So I'm just wondering, yeah, if there's like an introductory world that's out there, or if there's also folks that are uploading and open sourcing their content.
Yeah, I will highly recommend checking out the VRC Prefabs database. I'm not entirely sure exactly what we have currently, but we have a lot of creators creating on a lot of different introductory prefabs that everyone can use. One of the fears
just
with
to clarify,
uploading
when I say the prefab, I guess I'm talking about an entire Unity file, not a prefab.
So this is what I'm coming into. One of the fears with uploading the entire project as a whole is you're getting a lot of copycats. But I'm pretty sure there are some starter worlds where you have some of the most common elements already in place. Honestly, I'm going to admit I'm not the best person to answer this question. There are a lot of VRChat, VRC prefabs members that are going to be better well equipped to answer this question.
Okay, cool. Just if anyone has any more information, feel free to reach out. I'm just and also just share it here now if there's other information. So cool. Thanks.
Yep. Anyone else?
I guess I'll just mention, sorry to jump in on the answer rather than the question, but the SDK itself does have an example scene that has a number of the basic things you might want to put in your world, as well as a bunch of example scripts of how to use things. So I often recommend, as part of that, hey, just make sure you can build and test a world. The example scene is also meant to be that thing that you can build and test, and it should all work If it doesn't work, then there's something wrong with your install. That's all.
Yeah, if no one else has any more questions, I want to thank you, everyone, and hopefully you enjoyed this talk, and please enjoy the rest of the talk.